Okay, so welcome back to part 4 of our video tutorial series on how to make a website using HTML and CSS. Now in the previous ones I have set up my section and my aside. And if you also notice, I have changed the colors. I looked at it a bit more and I just did not really like it. So I went back to the original ones that I had when I first showed you this website. So now that we have taken care of all of this, we are going to put our very own custom logo up here. And then we are going to have some links down here. And we are going to have those links go to the different pages in our website. We'll make those as well. So in order to make the image, I am going to use an old favorite of mine called Pixlr Editor. And this is a free graphics editing program similar to Photoshop. It's a bit simpler and it's also online and it's also free, which makes it very nice. Now I've done some tutorials on these in the past and I'm not actually going to show you how to design it right now. If you look down here and down here, there are a couple tutorials that explain how to do text and also how to do an image. But there are a couple different things that I just want to make sure you get set up here. So first what I'm going to do is create a new image, and I am going to call this logo. And I want to make sure that this is wide enough but not very high so that it fits nicely into the header. And so that I am going to do 620. It's 620 by 180. And yours can be a little different. You could also crop it too. If you kind of make something and it's bigger and then you want to make it a little smaller, you can just crop it. Now this is important here. You need to make sure it is transparent so that when you put the logo on here, you can see through the background. If it's not transparent, you're just going to have that white background or whatever color background that you have. You click OK, and you will get a background right here. Okay, and I have my completed logo right here. Now I'm just going to go to save, and I cannot save it as a JPEG. I need to save it as a PNG. If I save it as a JPEG, you will not have a transparent background. It'll just appear with that white background. That wouldn't be good. Do PNG. Oh, there's a nice checkered transparent one that I love so much. And I'm going to click on OK. And I'm going to save logo right into Soccer World. So now that I have that, I'm going to go in here to Sublime Text. And I'm just going to get rid of the this is header part. And just like before, I'm going to have image src equals logo.png, which is the name of the file. And my alt is just going to be logo. And now before, we did the style just inside of the HTML. And you can do that. This will work just fine. But it's kind of nice to just kind of have your HTML here and the style all in your style sheet. So I am going to go into my style sheet and I'm going to, this is going to be header, image. And that is how I am going to target it. So I go down here, header, IMG, and open close. And my height is going to be 345 pixels. And my width is going to be 100 pixels. And for me, it just seems easier to sort of target it out here and just have the height and the width sort of separate from the pure HTML. We just started off simply right here just to kind of get the idea, and it will work. Just, I don't know, I prefer it like that. So let's go back here and let's see how this looks. Oops, something went wrong. Let's see what that is. Something's wrong with my height, it looks like. Oh, I mixed up height and width. That's not a good idea. So let's try this again. There we go, that looks much better. Okay, so we have our nice little logo right there that we designed in our image editing software. So you could feel free to do that all over, wherever you want. And now that we have that, I am just going to have a little bar right here with all of my links. And in order to do that, I'm going to use another list. I'm going to go in here, and I am going to do this inside of the header div ID. I'm going to have a nice little UL. That. I'm going to have my LIs. And this first one, so we are going to have the ahref inside of that too. Sorry about that. And the first one is going to be index.html. That will be our home page. We'll call that home. There we go. See, and you can notice I did not have my pointer right there, and I could notice that because it was not colored. Anytime you see something where the color is off, you should check that. And I'm going to have one called videos.html. And you can name these whatever you want. If a video section doesn't work for your website, then you don't have to put it in there. And I am going to have one more. And this one is going to be about. So if I save that and I come here, I have this right here, and that's obviously not what we want, but we will use our style sheet in order to change that. So I go back here, I am going to go up to my style. And I want to go into here. I want to cut, and notice how I'm keeping kind of the order here. Like I have my headers and then my section and then my side. Like I'm not doing everything as I do it, just so in case I need to go back and find it again, it will be much easier if I do it in order. Another good thing you might want to do is just add comments like, this is the header, this is the section, this is the aside, just like we did in the HTML section, and that will help you find things more easily. So you don't want to get lost in this. It starts to get tricky. So I am going to target this with a header UL. And first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of those dots just like I did on the aside. So I'm going to do list style none. And if you look here, you can see that they're floating right, and that's obviously not where we want it. Or sorry, they're floating left, and that's obviously not where we want it because it's just falling down there. So we want to take these and we want to float them over there. Oh, right. Try that. There we go. You can see these over here now, and they don't have their little dots. I want to give it some padding on the right. They're way up there. And that's going to be 100 pixels. And you may find out that you want to do this differently. Boom, there we go. And finally, I want some padding on the top. I want that to be 45 pixels. Okay, and that looks odd right now, but we are going to make these so that they are in line and that they are not stacked on top of each other. And in order to do that, I need to target each individual item. So before I was doing the UL, like the whole unordered list, but this time I am going to do the header UL LI. And I am going to display. Now this command will just tell it to, instead of stacking them on top of each other, it will display in a line. And all that is just in line. And you can see when I do this, boom, they go like that. And I want some padding between them. So that is going to be 30 pixels of padding. And now we have some padding in between them to give it a little bit of margin. And the final thing I am going to do is I am going to target the individual like styles of these. So I'm going to take the lines away. I'm going to make them a different color, just like we did here. And I will do that by targeting the actual link. So header, UL, A. And I want text decoration. I do not want any. I want those lines to go away. Like that. I want the color to be black. It turns black. I want to make them a little bigger, so I want the font size to be 20. Boom. And I did font family Arial, and like you can tell, I've definitely already done this before. I'm just kind of like seeing what I did just to make it style good, and hopefully give you some ideas. But this will definitely take you just a little bit longer to sort of tinker with what you want, and don't be hesitant to use the reference at W3 Schools just to kind of get new effects that I may not be using here. There's a whole host of them. And then finally, I want some padding along all sides. I want that at 10 pixels. Okay, that's even a little bit more. I probably could have combined the other two. I don't know why I did that, but that's all right. And so now we have our completed home web page. And if I click on home, it will stay here. If I go to videos, nothing will happen because we haven't made videos yet. And we also have not made about. So let's go do that really quickly. I am going to make a new file, and all I'm going to do, because I named that about, or not, I named that video. I'm going to save this as video.html. And then I'm going to have one more, and I'm going to save this as about.html. And if I go here to index, I'm just going to Command A, and I'm going to copy everything, and I'm going to put it in here. And because what we want this to be the same, and we want this to be the same. The only thing we want different is the content inside of this to change. So if we just copy and paste that into there, all we have to do is go into section, so start section, div ID section, and welcome to Soccer World. Like, I don't want any of that stuff. I want to get rid of it all. So if I save this, and now if I click on videos, it will just take me to an empty thing right there, and we can decide what we want to put inside of it. And like before, I had, I believe, Tim Howard saves. All right, and I had that. And so what you could do, instead of putting the link, if you right click or control click on YouTube, you can get the embed code, and this thing will come up right here. And if you copy that, Command C, and you put this code into the HTML and save it, the video will show up right on your website. But mine is, so my video, or my section is too small for that. So I have two choices. I can make that section bigger, or I can change the padding and everything on here. So why don't I put that there? Okay, and I changed the width to 550 pixels, and I changed the height to 330 pixels. And I also gave it a little title, H1 heading, called Tim Howard Saves. Save that, and let's see how this looks. Perfect. Good. So we have our little video section here, our home section, and finally, let's just do the same with about.html. Go here, Command A, Command C to copy. Command A highlights it all, Command C copies it all. I'm gonna go here. And just the same thing, I want to keep everything except the section. And in this one, I can really do anything. Let's just hello and a paragraph tag. Welcome to, or hello. My name is Kevin, and this is my soccer website, which really isn't much different from the homepage, but that is okay because this is just a sample, and your challenge here is to make this site more interesting than mine. So let me just try the about section. What did I do wrong here? About.html, save that. Why does that not work? About.html, something wrong with the link. Oh, yep, just writing about will not work. We need about.html and save it there. And I also need to save it on my video page. About.html. Save it. Now let's try this again. Videos. About. There we go. Perfect. About. Hello, my name is Kevin. This is my soccer website. Cool. And now I have just about everything. The only thing I did not do is that there's kind of like a cool hover effect that I had on the other one. And if we go into our style.css page, I'm going to keep this at the back. Next to where we have the header and the UL and all that, we can do something called, we could take the header and UL, and this is anytime this hovers over the link, I'm going to add this, hover. Boom. So anytime this hovers over the link, whatever we say will happen. So we could change the color, we could change the size, but what we are going to do is we are going to change the background color. And change the background color, and E6, I had this one before, E6, E6, boom. And now if I go here and I refresh, now if I go over there, it will change the background color whenever I hover over it, and I think that's a pretty neat thing. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that this is round, and really the only reason I did this is because I want to show you that you don't have to have these square corners right here on any of them, and I'll do it on the hover, but you could do it on any section that you want. So if you go here and you do border radius, this will control how much curve there is on the corner. So I will do 20 pixels, but you could change the amount. So if we do 20 pixels, see how it looks. You can see that we have that little curve there. And if we were to do a lesser amount, it would be less curve. So if I were to do 10 pixels, be a little bit less of a curve. And we have that nice rounded edge like that. And I actually think that looks better. So I am going to keep it like that. And we have everything for the website that we need right now. The only thing we have left to do is to put it all up on the internet, and that will be in the final tutorial. But good job making this far. You have done the bulk of the work, and look forward to the next one when you get to publish your wonderful website out to the eagerly anticipating world. So good job. Later.